Asset based here with Marco. Asset based here with Frank. So we're here with Marina.
I'm here with Sam.
Asset based here with Samir, freight carrier sitting with Fook. Asset based here with Duke. Asset based here with Augie. Asset based here with Hector. Asset based here with Dayan.
Jeden village.
Yeah, go Marco. Happy Friday. Welcome to Asset Based episode 13. Gonna be joined today by Jere Malisic, an account executive over at CrossLeaf Web Engineering. Just before we get into today's show, we got to get through the efRouting top hauls of the week. Coming in on the number one spot, we got a Columbus, Ohio over to Allentown, PA. Going to be 437 on the miles, 2.5 to 4.9 on the high end. Then we got a Findlay, Ohio over to Philadelphia, 533 miles, 2.45 to almost $5 on the top end there. Number one, our reefers McAllen over to Dallas, 555 on the miles, $3 on the low end. Pretty good for that lane, won't even lie. 3.1 on the top end. Then you got a Chicago over to Atlanta, 746 on the miles, 2.6 to 4.4 on the top end. Number one on flatbed, we got a Demopolis, Alabama over to Houston, about 600 miles, 2.7 to 3.7 on the top end there. And a Brownsville, Tennessee over to Chicago, 540 on the miles, 2.6 to 3.1 on the top end. Best loop for driving, going to start out of Manchester, New Hampshire, heading over to Philly, then to Chicago, Allentown, Akron, Lafayette, and back to New Hampshire. A little bit of a longer week, pretty low on the gross. I don't know, drive-ins definitely taking a hit these days. And best loop for a reefer, going to start in New Hampshire again, go over to Carlisle, PA, Springfield, Mass, Philly, Lafayette, back to New Hampshire. Regular work weeks, 7.5 to 8.5 on the gross, about $3 on the top end RPM. And the best loop for flatbed, also starting out of New Hampshire, going to go over to Carlisle, PA, Springfield, Mass, Philly, Lafayette, and back to New Hampshire. 7.5 to 8.5 on the top end. I screwed that one up. I read the reefer one again. Yeah, we're starting a new one where I'm trying to use my phone to do these, so I guess the mistakes are going to happen. Going through the actual flatbed best loop, starts out of Michigan, over to Birmingham, over to Winston-Salem, then to Philly, Carrollton, Kentucky, Saginaw, Michigan. A little bit of a shorter week, some really high gross on that one. Great RPM. Flatbed's definitely killing it these days. But let's hop into today's show with Yare. What's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going, Alex?
Yeah, so I usually run this off my monitors. Today I was like, I'm gonna be smarter, and I use my phone to read it off, and instantly screwed that one up. Not all tech advancements are good ones. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, sometimes stick with what's not broken, right?
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I
Yeah,
mean, that's gonna segue us perfectly into what you're doing on the tech side of things. Take us through your career and how you ended up in the tech side of things.
yeah, absolutely. So a few years back, summer of 22, I just went headfirst in the digital tech world as a seller. Prior to that, I had a bit of an unorthodox uh, journey. Did some sales, definitely different industries, whether fitness, recruiting as well, and then dabbled in a bit of trades for a few years as an apprentice in carpentry. And then, yeah, just like I said a few years back, I had this great opportunity with a small business, CrossLeaf Web Engineering, that continues to grow. And I thought, the introduction of AI, especially the last couple of years, I think it was the right decision. So, yeah, very happy with that.
I mean, definitely AI is taking over. I mean, I saw a video today, and it was like one of those obviously AI, obviously fake videos of like a car being chopped in half. And
Yeah,
I thought to my head, I was like, I don't really like AI to be honest. I clicked on the comments, and it was just like, yo, AI is kind of like the videos are getting too much a little bit, like because they're
yeah,
obviously
yeah.
AI at this point.
Yeah, it depends on the application and like the specific MO behind it, right? The motive. There's definitely a lot of bad examples with, like you said,
Yeah.
either deep fake or just straight up AI generated from scratch. But then there's a lot of great use cases too, right? So
Just before we get into all the good stuff that you're dealing with, just to harp on the bad stuff a little bit, like I just don't like the content creation side of things where we're just getting like the most brain rot content made out of there.
yeah, yeah, like
But all right,
regurgitated content, just further optimized dead language, stuff like that.
yeah, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Take me through CrossLeaf, take me through your position there, and take me through the services that you guys provide and the problems you guys solve.
Yeah, so I represent one of the technically subsidiaries of CrossLeaf, which is our parent company in CrossLeaf Web Engineering. As I said, we're a digital service provider. So I deal with, among other things, like digital transformation initiatives, cybersecurity, and of course, AI. So those are kind of the three top pillars. And then our two cybersecurity subsidiaries are Canary Trap as well as Ally. And then AI in particular, we have a subsidiary called Invency. So we're kind of all along the digital spectrum. I kind of just see, what the prospect or client is looking for and try to find the best fit.
Yeah, perfect. So, what type of clients and what type of prospects are coming to you guys? I mean, let's go through maybe the pillars one by one. Who's using you guys? What are the problems you guys are solving there?
Yeah, so I would say mature organizations, medium to enterprise level organizations. So organizations that already are dabbling into some sort of I would say somewhat advanced tech stack as compared to maybe small businesses. And
So maybe
we
no Google sheet companies coming to you guys at this point.
no, no. What I'd kind of say to that effect is, they have some sort of, they have a tech stack, they have a specific way of doing things, but there's some inefficiencies, or they're looking to, optimize a specific workflow. It's really kind of open ended. I can't really speak to a particular example or even a specific industry. It's something that makes us unique compared to maybe other companies. We're not PLG, so we don't have like a specific product off the shelf. We're very much custom fit, custom oriented, looking to work off of the specific system that they already have, or build something from scratch.
Yeah, so you guys are able to adapt. You're not an off-the-shelf product. You guys are willing to work with companies and integrate into their existing infrastructure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. I mean, what I guess in simple terms, right? Because most of my audience is going to be trucking focused, logistics focused people. That's why I wanted to bring you on today to
Yeah.
have a conversation with you about how like tech is working outside of our industry. Because in trucking, it's like the same things, right? Like you got a TMS, you know the same type of systems. It's all pretty straightforward stuff. Take me through some of the, I guess, applications of your guys' products, when it comes to cybersecurity, because in freight we're having some big cybersecurity issues. A lot of people getting phished to like phishing emails, hacking a bunch of accounts. What do you guys do sort of in the cybersecurity space of things?
Yeah, so kind of referenced earlier our two subsidiaries on the cybersecurity front. So we have Canary Trap, basically like offensive security testing, pen testing. We do whether it's purple team or red team, where we're literally like orchestrating an attack and seeing how they'll react, or working alongside with their team and trying to give them feedback while also providing some sort of best practice moving forward. And then with Ally, it's more at the code level, the source level of the specific application. It's secure code review. So we leverage our security analysts who are like the subject matter experts, and we go over, after taking a look at their specific source package, what are the false positives, what are the false negatives, what actually needs to be fixed. Can it be leveraged to an extent, or does it have to sort of start from scratch certain sections of that? So that's kind of high level.
Yeah, I mean, when you're jumping into the code level of cybersecurity, I mean, your existing infrastructure teams may not be where you'd want them to be. But take me through the AI stuff, man. I mean, let's talk AI. Let's see, what are you guys up to? How are you guys leveraging it? And I mean, I know that I'm not definitely not an AI subject matter expert by any means, but I've had a few guests on the show along the months. And a lot of people throw shade at people saying, hey, we leverage AI, but it's not AI. Let's go kind of through that stuff.
Yeah, so I guess take a step back. Our philosophy at CrossLeaf is we're what you'd call like technology agnostic. So we don't have a specific AI model or a specific AI tech stack that we need to go back to. We sort of are able to leverage and orchestrate different models depending on the specific use case. So a recent success story that I could share with you is we stood up against a number of different vendors, competitors for a utility provider. And what we were able to do is basically use the best of specific AI models, orchestrate them together, and we were able to achieve a like 100% validation data accuracy score. And this was cross-departmental, so, and multimodal, mind you. So basically just high level, not just written word, but like drawings, diagrams, things of that nature. We were able to ingest all the documents, whether it was, let's say, engineering department or marketing department or HR department, and we were able to ingest that, and then the output was correct. So there was no hallucination, essentially, which is a lot of the issues with leveraging AI. Like, how can you actually trust it? Is it, you got to clean the data, then you got to make sure that the data that you're using is not going outside of its, appropriate parameters, right? Because that then can take you, down a rabbit hole, and it can probably cause a lot more issues than you were even dealing with in the first part.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've had, I have a good friend of mine who's building some software in the logistics space, and she was, just kind of smashing AI when it's in trucking. I think the number was like 97% or 98% accuracy on the data that she was using. And she was still slamming them hard because it's like in trucking, like that 1% could be one
Yeah.
load for however big you are. The more you scale, it could be 100 loads, could be 1,000 loads, could be life or death, could be a lot of things going wrong. And then she's like, well, if I'm gonna have to check all the data anyways, what's the point of using it in the first place, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I was very specific with like that particular example where I said 100%, right? Because yeah, you're right. If it's 99 or 98 in those, those edge cases, those circumstances, that could really, cause a lot of harm, right? For the
Yeah, I
organization,
mean,
for the
it's
partners.
some industries it couldn't be an issue. I mean, I'm thinking of like, hey, if they're 98% wrong and like a pack of cookies goes missing or like a pack of cookies is packed wrong, it's like, oh, that doesn't really matter, right? But when
Yeah.
you're dealing with like life or death situations, that 100% needs to be 100%.
No, absolutely.
Hey, take me through some of, I mean, are you a part of the cold calling team? Do you do any sales whatsoever? Or are you more after the sales have been made, the account executive role?
Yeah. So in my case, I'm actually 360. So I do the cold calling, the cold emails, the prospecting, and
Okay, so let's
Yeah.
go through that since that's a really fun topic. That's a
Yeah.
topic that comes up all the time in trucking. Let's go through, your cold calling strategies, tips for cold calling, and I mean, just take me through before we even get into all of that. Like, how do cold calls look in your guys' case? How are you finding the info of prospects and just all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So with respect to like the info, I leverage Zoom info, for instance,
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well
I
as
was about to
LinkedIn.
say.
Yeah. And LinkedIn as well. I got the the sales outlook. And basically I tried, as I've gotten better with it, I realized that from the beginning, I was doing something, known as analysis paralysis, where I would spend so much time researching about a specific person within a specific company. And let's say you call and you don't even get them on the line. And in some cases, you can't even leave a voicemail. Like they don't even set up their voicemail. So I learned quickly, do some research, do, a responsible amount of research where you know at least what they do at the very least high level. And then from there, you just try to be human with them, right? I always start from the get go, letting them know we've yet to get acquainted, right? Like this is technically a cold call. Are you okay with that? Do you have a free moment at this time? So I started that way where I let them know, hey, this is who I am. You don't know me at this point, but I'd love to share something with you, which I think would be relevant. So more often than not, I find that, disarms the person and they're willing to,
Yeah, it's an
have that
honest
conversation.
approach. You're not hitting
Yeah.
them with a sale right away. You're coming at
No,
them
no.
as a human and saying, "Hey, look, I know I'm probably going to be annoying you. Like, are we okay with this? I might have something that could be useful to you."
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like as long as I believe in it, because I've seen it work time and time again, then I don't have an issue. So that's kind of my philosophy. So stay away from analysis process. I would say for people that are maybe scared of the phone. And I don't know if you noticed this, Alex, but as technology progresses and as people are leveraging, their emails, as they're leveraging LinkedIn with the messaging, they're staying further and further away from the phone, which is where the magic happens in a lot of cases, where you're able to get someone real time, and they either like to hear you describe more about what you're trying to share with them, or they don't, and it's as simple as that.
Oh yeah, we have
Yeah,
in the logistics and trucking space, the massive debates of, we have a few characters on one side of, let's say, cold calling is dead. We have probably more of a majority on the other side saying cold calling is definitely not dead, and it's one of the best ways to get new customers in our industry. I mean, I've seen the cases in trucking; it's a little bit different, right? I still believe in trucking cold calling is the way to go, as opposed to the email outreach and stuff like that. However, in other industries, I do follow some people in in the UK doing like phone sales, and I follow some people in America doing like other tech SaaS kind of sales. And I mean,
yeah,
I see the case where email blasts and stuff like that can be very successful, and I think that's the thing, right? It doesn't matter the medium in which you're doing your cold outreach. It's just how good are you at it, right? Cold calling could not work for somebody, but it's definitely still a viable option where that person might be stronger at email outreach, right?
yeah. I kind of like to implement like the versatile approach where I'm dabbling in at the very least a little bit in all of them, and like you said, like I'll double down on what's working. And sometimes it might be cold calling for a few months, and then for whatever reason maybe it's not hitting at a certain point in time, the season. That's a big thing. And email is more that you're getting more responses there, so like you got to pivot. But I try not to completely cut out any of those avenues. That's what I would recommend. So like double down, triple down on what's working for you, but also try to just keep on top of those other avenues, because you never know, right? Like your next client might be someone that really liked what you were expressing in email, and maybe your tonality when you're talking would rub them the wrong way.
Yeah,
So
that's completely true statement as well.
yeah,
Take me through video outreach, man. You ever film some videos? Actually, no, 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 no. Wait. Don't answer that. Don't answer. Now I remember. You did that to me, didn't you?
I did, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
right,
how we actually met. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, going back like 1 or 2 months. Yeah, I do actually remember. Like, I can't remember where I was. I wasn't at home. I wasn't working. I was like somewhere outside, and I opened up my LinkedIn and I just saw like a video of your face. I was like, this is like random but interesting. I watched it. I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. So you
yeah.
did hit me with that. That's been one of the cool techniques that we've seen in trucking as well.
No, I appreciate that. I saw a pretty cool videos. You were trying out some sort of AI voice operator, I believe, and I forget
Yeah, with
the
McKenna.
yeah with McKenna. That's right. And I just thought it was very charming. You were very amused during the video, and then
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, this guy seems like a cool guy. You know, you're representing the logistics world. That's something I've always been interested in, even though I've never worked in that world. And so yeah, I reached out to you. You happen to be Serbian as well, so I thought, okay, the stars are aligned. Why not just shoot this
Yeah,
video email
we have
or video
the
message?
Serbian Canadian thing going for both of us, and yeah, that video is really cool, man. McKenna is really cool. Getting to dabble in other industries, getting to host a platform that's mainly obviously focused on logistics, but I do have fun with the shows that are outside of the industry. I do feel like there's a lot of value in bringing on people from other industries and hearing, how sales work in this industry, how tech works in that industry, how there's a lot of similarities, right? Because it's just basic business principles, and it's cool to see how other industries are doing things.
Yeah, no. There's a lot of overlap. Like you said, there's like these guiding principles that are definitely transferable from one industry to another. Even like with my kind of unorthodox journey, I was able to use my time in sales for the fitness industry, in my time as sales in the recruitment industry. I was able to kind of leverage that and just hone in on that, sharpen those tools or those skill sets.
Yeah, so take me through sort of your favorite parts about where you're working now, the industry that you're working in now. What sort of attracts you and keeps you in it?
Yeah, I think just maybe the overall appetite. We've been talking about AI, the good and the bad, and the ugly. But the good side, I think a lot of organizations now are really primed to embrace AI to an extent. And one thing that I want to kind of double down on before I referenced something, digital transformation, and it tends to get a bad rep where people think it's like someone's just trying to, throw this tech stack on something that doesn't work, and it ends up being kind of put to the side because there's no buy-in, there's no culture buy-in. So before even the digital transformation, you want to go in with analog disruption. You want to make sure that the team is ready to embrace that, or the organization as a whole is ready to embrace that. So like with AI, 2023 versus 2024 versus now 2025, I'd say 2023 was more like the year of the proof of concept, where companies were looking at ideas. They wanted to see, okay, can this be done? How would this be done? But it's not necessarily full out implementation or rollout. And then last year was more, advanced, where there was a lot of projects where they saw the POC from, 23, and they actually rolled it out. This year, I think it's moving so fast that, my job is to essentially, in a lot of cases, not overwhelm the leaders that are trying to leverage that, and just kind of find that happy medium where it's like, okay, so your team is looking to leverage this to whatever extent. What do you want to achieve, right? It's all about business outcomes. It's not about looking pretty, or just saying, oh, I have this tech stack versus, I used to not even have that. It's like, what are you trying to achieve? What are you going to gain out of this? That's really, what I try to get out of the initial conversation, and drive that to the end.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you could take us through like the elevator pitch of every service you guys offer, and exactly the type of customers you guys are looking for, and then we'll get into some more like fun stuff after that.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I mean, CrossLeaf Web Engineering, we're a digital service provider. What differentiates us from maybe the pack in a lot of cases is we're, technology agnostic. So we serve no master with the tech stacks that we'll, pitch. We really look at the use case and what you're trying to accomplish as a company. We're open source friendly. That's another thing. We're not tied down in any sense. And yeah, like whether it's related to taking your specific web asset, and improving upon it, building something from scratch. That's certainly what we are able to do well. The front end, the back end, the program side, as well as the UX UI side. And then with cybersecurity, as I already mentioned, you got the secure code review, the source package analysis, and making sure that that's down pat and doing what you need it to be doing. And then AI. Yeah. So whether it's generative AI with the AI models, or automating something, machine learning, we're kind of all across the digital spectrum there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty good summary and a good way to wrap up, the work stuff portion of this show. Getting into some more fun stuff, man. I want to hear your craziest cold call or like craziest, customer experience you've gone through in the tech industry.
Craziest cold call experience. Well, I mean, I've definitely been told to go
Yeah,
myself a few times.
That's that's a
One time
given.
though, yeah, but this was a creative one. So this person kind of um, led me on for a while, where they were asking me follow up questions, and I was kind of, I had happy years. This was maybe this was my first year, so back in 22, the tail end of 22, and so I thought, we had some good rapport building going on, and they seemed interested in cybersecurity in particular. And so I started asking some questions, and I guess in hindsight, they were just kind of making things up, because I was, I was jotting down what I could at the time, and I got to a point where I said, okay, like this is fantastic, like I think we have something here. Would you be willing to, have a formal intro call with a few additional team members, and maybe on your side, bring some of your colleagues? And they're like, you know what, actually, I think you should just go F yourself instead. I'm like, and I just kind of froze, and I was like, excuse me? And they hung up. So I guess
Oh,
that's just like a very complex and pretty
took you for a
nasty,
ride.
pretty nasty thing to do, because it was like between 5 and 10 minutes long, the conversation. So it
Yeah.
really, I don't know. The person must have had some bad experiences, or maybe they're just I don't know. Maybe they're just miserable. But it was
Well, I mean,
yeah,
that's a commitment to wasting your time, a commitment
yeah,
to the bit
yeah.
for sure. I mean, I was expecting like maybe like 2 3 minutes, but
No,
a
no,
5 to 10 minute phone call that ends with that, with no intention of purchasing
yeah,
anything, is
yeah.
pretty
They took me
wild.
through the ringer, and then at the end, just yeah, nothing, man.
Yeah, that's
It toughened me up though. So I kind of, at that point, I was just like, okay, like, unfortunately, sometimes you'll have individuals like that, and you pick up on cues after that, where you're like, okay, like, micro commitments, even on the call, certain things that they'll answer in a particular way, where you'll be like, okay, they're potentially a serious buyer, right? At that time, I was, not even 6 months in, so I kind of had the surface level questions, and they were kind of just yes or knowing me. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I
you
mean,
know,
when you start out in any career, you got to start somewhere. It's tough to
yeah,
snuff out the nonsense that's going on.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
especially when you're doing cold outreach. I mean, I haven't heard that story too many times of people taking someone for a ride, but I've seen it all over the internet of people say, "Oh, if you ever get a cold call, just like at least try to waste their time." Or if you're ever dealing with, in
yeah,
our industry, we deal with scammers like pretty much on a daily basis.
for
And
sure.
people are like, hey, like if you have time, like to waste the scammers' time, just like talk to them 10 to 20 minutes, just so they
Yeah,
can't go out scamming other people.
no, no, for sure. I mean, in that, maybe from their vantage point, they were like, I hope they didn't think I was a scammer, but it was just, yeah, they
I know
definitely, yeah, they pulled one on me that day.
that's a pretty good. If you could give yourself, your younger self, maybe 18, 19-year-old self, advice from your shoes today, what would it be?
Just go for it. Yeah, that's been something that throughout my life, I think I've hesitated too much, and I've, again, going back to the analysis paralysis part. I tend to try to, like, gather as much information before making certain decisions. That's something that I've worked on, and I'm getting better at, where I'm more assertive, and I trust my instinct, and as long as you're putting forth the effort, and you're doing it in good faith, then just go for it.
Yeah, I think you gave some of the best cold calling advice I've had over 100 episodes at this point of running a podcast. Because most people are like, oh, you got to do your research, you got to hammer down the research, you got to know everything, you got to research. And I think you've said it best, right? Where it's like, yeah, you want to do your research, you want to know who you're talking to, what they do, the problems they solve, the problems they may have. But at the same time, if you spend 2 3 hours researching, 5 days researching, you don't get them on the phone, you don't get a voicemail, then what have you really accomplished? And I think that whole like medium of knowing what they do at a surface level and then getting to know them once you got them on the phone might be the approach.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, strategic research, for sure. You can have kind of overlap, where you can more or less have a good idea of what they should be dealing with, whether pain or like what they're looking to accomplish based off their industry. But it's a lot of guesswork, and I'm completely fine with looking like an idiot sometimes with assumptions. Like if they're correcting me, that's actually very that's a good sign, because that means they're at least, involved in the conversation, and they want to correct me because they want to see, is there a good fit, right? The worst is when it's just like, obviously
No,
you're,
just cold.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, if they're at least participating, then you're definitely got your foot in the door there. Take me through your, I guess, what you're most excited about with AI. What do you see the developments heading towards, and just your overall kind of standpoint on AI?
Yeah, on a business level, I mean, there's a lot of different applications, but I'm gonna maybe mention more so the personal level. I just think that as an entrepreneur, or as a seller, or really whatever your profession is, the tools out there, it's pretty remarkable, like what you can use, the tools that you can leverage, to just make yourself more a creative person. It's like, what are you trying to accomplish? It's less nowadays. I find it's less execution, and it's more like, what do you want to do? Because the execution will happen as long as you're somewhat competent with these tools. It's like, what do you want to do? So yeah, like me personally, I just love when these the chat GPT recently, I'm sure you heard the craze with all the image generation, like that was pretty neat. But speaking to like being productive, just sharpening your messaging, learning about a specific industry, a niche industry, a specific type of technology that was rolled out. Like you can research, and you can sharpen your messaging. Like those are the two things that on a personal level have proven to be very meaningful. Like my messaging and my researching. It's like cut the time um, by like crazy amount, man.
Yeah, no, I've leveraged it. I have, like I said, I run some operations out of Serbia with people that like are from over here, and I've told them like, hey, just leverage ChatGPT, clean up your emails a little bit, and
Yeah,
it's remarkable how fast and easy it is to clean up the emails instead of like proofreading them, me sitting there like manually doing it.
and to
But I'm
just
kind of, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, to piggyback off what I said earlier as well. So, like, if you're in an organization, right, and you're leveraging like an actual effective AI tech stack, and you're looking to get specific information, rather than having to reach out to a specific subject matter expert or your colleague who might or might not be in the office, it's like you can literally tap into that specific system if done right, right? That's the caveat, if done right. And you're able to get that information. And dude, something that took 3 weeks between multiple colleagues and multiple, let's say, even like mini sign-offs, can be done within a few hours. Like that's really, and that speaks to your industry. That speaks to really any industry. Like it's amazing. They call it like the force multiplier, or the effort disruptor. Like it's just, yeah, I don't know. I'm obviously all in. I drink the Kool-Aid because I'm in that industry, but I think it's legit. Like I really think there's a lot of good. There's always going to be some bad and some ugly, but there's a lot of good. There's a lot of good out
No,
there
I
with it.
mean, so this is like my stance on the whole situation, right? And I mean, I'm not like a very old person. I'm still relatively young, and I'm very tech savvy. I like tech. And every time some new innovations come out of tech, I'm like always the guy in like the back of my head. It's like, I know if I don't start leveraging these things, we're gonna fall behind. Like it's like I always use Blockbuster as the example, right?
Yeah.
Blockbuster was the thing we all loved when we were kids. We'll walk around Blockbuster, pick out our movies, pick out our video games. Like Blockbuster was like
And
the
the
best
candy.
place. Yeah, can everything, everything.
Yeah.
Like that was like the best place on earth when I was a
Friday
kid.
night experience. You go there and you just go all in. Yeah.
They had the movie DVD bin. It was like five for like $7 or something like crazy. Like I just watch movies all summer long. So Blockbuster was like a part of all of our childhoods. We all loved it. We all thought this was never gonna end. And then like Netflix came out and Blockbuster was like, that doesn't matter. We don't need to catch up with that. And now they're just gone. There's no more Blockbusters, right? So that's
Yeah.
always my example when it comes to new technology is like, don't be like Blockbuster. You're gonna get left behind. Now, let me take you into the second part of that. Is I use zero AI. I don't leverage it at all. I basically only know Chat GPT. I've used it like 3 times to make memes, and that's as far as like the AI has gone for me. Because this is how I see it, right? Is it's not there yet for commercial use or for like personal or commercial use in my use cases, right? But it will be, and it will be like sooner rather than later. And I would assume in the next like 1 to 3 years. I mean, with how fast it developed from us never having it to what we have now, I would assume the next like 24 months is just going to be like ludicrously good. So, I mean, what are your tips for leveraging it besides emails and stuff like that? Where do you see AI fitting into like, the business world, into the personal world? Um, what else do you see it being used for?
Yeah, I mean, maybe something not directly related to me, but I do have to call it out. Like a lot of people lately have been talking, um, years back before AI really took off to the general public. I'm talking. Everyone thought, okay, the blue collar jobs were going to get affected, right? Like the trades, essentially. There's going to be robots that are going to take your job. And ironically, now
Yeah.
it's actually the opposite, where a lot of the soft skills, a lot of the white collar, let's say, jobs, they're these AI tools, these AI systems are cutting the need for manual labor, and so that unfortunately drastically reduces, let's say, the workforce, right? The robots are coming, so that's another thing. So I just find it interesting with now, the white collar jobs have been affected quite a bit and will continue to do so, but I think the blue collar jobs to some extent will follow suit. So I just think like the world that we see right now, you mentioned 6, 12, 24 months. I find like every week with what's dropped, with specific updates or specific companies that have a new idea, it's just completely changing the landscape. And it's you mentioned you want to be on top of certain things and you want to not be left behind. I think it's important to not necessarily go all in on everything that's brand new, but I think you got to be smart with what you pick to invest time in, right? Because in many ways, I think everyone, to be successful, will have to be an AI generalist, where it's like you don't have to be like a expert level manipulator of specific
Yeah,
AIs, but
definitely just a casual understanding of what's out there.
yeah, and like by practice is also what I mean. Like like one thing is to be able to wrap it around your head, and another thing is to actually have like what I like to say, like procedural intelligence, where it's like, okay, you can talk about it, but then it's like, can you actually apply it? So I just yeah, that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. What was the original question? Maybe I went off on a tangent.
I mean, no, I think we're still pretty on topic. I can't remember the original question either. All these thoughts are swirling in my head, because you
Yeah,
just hit me with. So I have a close friend of mine, a business partner on the carrier defender side, and he has somebody that he knows that he's close with that works also in this tech space and a little bit deeper into like I don't even want to get into. I don't even know what they do, to be honest. But
sure.
long story short, they understand, like you just said, if you're following the space and you're seeing the updates and the patches and the things that are coming out week to week basis, you'd be blown away, which I'm not, and which the general public probably isn't either. And so when you hear people like yourself and people like that person and people in the space, it's like 624 this that they scare me, honestly. Gay scares me. Like you said, we all thought like it was gonna be the blue collar jobs that go first, and like it kind of was, right? Like you remember Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, like the dad loses his like job putting the toothpaste caps on
Mm.
to like some machine. But it was the white collar jobs that were under the most pressure when AI started popping out, like doctors, lawyers, like stuff like this started
Yeah,
actually coming under a threat. And then you talk like about the robots coming in. It's gonna go blue collar. You see certain science fiction movies, and I think Netflix just dropped a pretty funny one. I watched like half of it about like a world with like the robots, and then the robots like fought back, and then they had to like outlaw the robots. And I just don't know if that's where just because you can doesn't mean you should is always in the back of my mind with these advancements.
no, a fair statement. My only maybe pushback would be like, in effect, it's an arms race. So if you're not keeping on top of that, then there's always going to be people that are. So it's like you're going to be further disadvantaged. And then if unfortunately there are nefarious situations where people are using it just for bad, so then you also got to be on top of that where you're not naive and you're not kind of left in the dust. So it's kind of like I'm still look, man. This is considered the fourth industrial revolution, right? Like each revolution, there's a shock, and people don't know how to react, and then I believe in the human response, which sometimes there's a lag, but eventually people will, they'll probably have to pick up on these technologies and become well versed in it, because I don't know how many alternative options will be out there, right?
Yeah, no, you're completely right. I think
But
that's
we're capable. Like I want it to be optimistic. Like it's definitely. I'm not being naive about it. I'm not saying nothing's going to change. It's already changing. We see that with the market today.
But we can also go back to the example. When the internet came out, everybody saw computers are stupid. You're stupid for learning computers. And now, if you don't know how to use a computer, you basically can't work unless you're working, out of manual labor jobs. And then, the smartphones came out. Everybody again was like, you don't need that. It's like a little bit too much. Now it's like, if you don't have a smartphone, you can't like live. Like you can't do anything in the world anymore without a smartphone. And I think, like you said, the initial reaction is going to be shock, and then it's going to be acceptance, and then it's going to be learning, and then it's just going to like be common everyday things. So.
And I love I love that you mentioned smartphones. So now the next thing is, at least with the tech nerds, it's like it's not a smartphone unless you're leveraging like certain AI tools. So it's like now, like it continues to progress, right? I mean, even in your industry, I was going to ask you real quick, like the layers on top of now, like they're trying to, these big corporations are trying to make as much autonomous work, at least with the integration, right? Like I didn't even know. I knew about personally like 4PL, but then, apparently there's 5PL, and then down the road, like 6PL, where it becomes more abstract and there's more oversight and it's becoming more autonomous. Like you're always going to need, obviously, human critical thinking and output. But I just also like, I just find that fascinating with whatever industry, right?
I mean, if you ever want to understand the landscape of logistics and tech and the pitfalls of it, and just go research like Convoy, the company Convoy, because that was like the first company that tried to leverage tech like fully. And I won't ruin it for you. Like just go like research that one company, and then you'll start to see like what tech looks like. I think trucking needs tech. I think tech is definitely, there's been a lot of cool advancements in the past like 5-10 years, but at the same time, it's like so formulaic and so relationship based, and it's like just the same exact thing every time. That it is what it is, like it's behind in tech, but it's kind of okay how it is. And old habits die hard, I think, in trucking. But I'll leave you with that research. If you want to go check out that company, that's a cool read. There's a lot of articles.
No, I appreciate that, man. Yeah.
Anyways, let's wrap up today's show, man. I got one last question for you, and we are out of here. Where are you based exactly in Canada again?
So like GTA, Greater Toronto Area.
Okay, yeah, perfect. So there's like, you eat a lot of chicken wings by chance?
I do.
Yeah, okay. If you go to, I think it's every Tuesday or every Thursday, they used to have like 50-cent wings or something at Sloppy Joe's in Etobicoke. That's like my favorite wing place.
Oh, Sloppy Joe's, yeah. Have you been to Wingporium?
Yeah, I've been to like every wing place.
Yeah.
But Sloppy Joe's barbecue, man, they have like this barbecue sauce. It's so good. But anyways, chicken wing choices, man. When you eat chicken wings, you like drums or flats?
Drums.
Drums. All right. Ranch or blue cheese on the dipping sauce?
Ranch.
That's fair. I mean, blue cheese is an acquired taste. And last,
I don't mind it, but I'll take ranch.
Yeah. Breaded or non-breaded wings?
I've done both. Ideally, I'd like non-breaded actually, but I find breaded is kind of more convenient.
Yeah, I mean, I'll leave you with that. I mean, drums is definitely the right choice there. The sauce one we don't deduct for, and then breaded's the right answer, but non-breaded has a case. I mean, what's your favorite at Wingporium? Isn't that the place that has like 8,000 flavors? It's like one of those.
Yeah, my cousin and my brother were crazy. They got put up on the wall of flame, or the flame wall or whatever, because they did like one of the hottest, and they suffered the rest of the week. I didn't touch that, but I like it to be hot, but not like the craziest hot, I guess is what I'm saying. I want there to be some flavor. I don't mind sweating, but like I don't want to be like, MIA for the rest of the day or week.
Oh yeah, no, I love hot if it still has a taste. If it's hot just to be hot, like you can miss me with that.
Yeah.
But all right, man, thank you for stopping by on this Friday. I look forward to hearing more and maybe discussing AI with you further in the next maybe month or two. Hey, listen, if you hear anything crazy in AI, you're like, "Okay, just come back on the show and we'll discuss it, bro."
Well, sounds good, Alex. Thanks so much, man. Thanks for having me.
Have a good rest of your day and have a great weekend, man.
Take care. Cheers.
That's going to wrap up episode 13 of Asset Base with Jere, account executive over at CrossLeaf Web Engineering. If you have any AI concerns, web security concerns, or any of the other things discussed in today's show, hit him up. Have a great weekend, everybody.
But I'm just getting started. My eyes on the target. Nah, nah. You're the better one, still can't go.
Asset Based here with Marco. Asset Based here with Frank. So we're here with Marina.
I'm here with Sam.
Asset Based here with Samir. Freight carrier sitting with Fook. Asset Based here with Duke. Asset Based here with Augie. Asset Based here with Hector. Asset Based here with Dayan.